Hello. I'm sure you would have realised if you're regular that I've not really been doing much uploading, and in fact I've said that in the last couple of videos. Every time I've made a video I had been meaning to come back, but to be honest, I've just never really felt really like I wanted to talk about knives. In fact, I haven't for about the last year or so. Now, my last couple of videos has been about old tools. Now this video isn't going to just be about that, but for the most part it is, but if you're a subscriber you might still be interested in what I've got to say. In my opinion, the price of new knives are just silly now. To me, they're just... One example I can think of is when I first got into this, maybe 5, 6 or so years ago, I think I paid about £50 or so for a Spyderco Squeak. And now that same knife is about £80, £90. I mean, that's a lot of money for the knife that you get. And to be honest, I've kind of been feeling for quite a long time that the prices of knives have just been getting silly. And for me, the tip of the iceberg really is, I kind of feel like knife companies are just taking the piss now. I feel like they're taking the piss out of their fans, essentially. And I do want to talk about that in another video. But in short, the amount of like limited editions and all this is just doing my head in now, and I don't have to buy them, I know, but Leatherman in particular, their garage series is just, the price is just insane for what it is. So I've kind of shifted my attention to collecting vintage tools. Now, why might you care about that? Well, maybe you don't, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. That said, I've not completely stopped buying knives. I do still buy them when I find them second hand. In fact, I did a video on a couple that I got at auction not long ago, and I paid a fantastic price for them. And I've also got heavily into axes. Now, I've always liked axes, but over this summer, I've been going out with my family to car boot sales because there's something that we can all find there, really. And although I'm looking for any old tool I can find, this being a great example, whatever you see here, planes or spanners or whatever, of course I'm really interested in old axes. So you might be interested to stick around because I'm now collecting axes. I kind of have for a while, but going to these the thing is, I didn't realise that we still had things like that in Scotland. I thought the prices on car boot sales would just be stupid, but I mean, I've paid very little for some of these. This one here, for example, is a Veterlinks. I won it at auction with 4 other boxes of tools, and this is the main thing I wanted, for £10. Here's a Braids, I think it's called Centurion or something like that. I dropped some water on it earlier on. Still need to clean it up anyway. But this is an old Braids. Paid £4 for that, etc. Here's an interesting old Czechoslovakian axe, so I'm not really sure who made it. So if you did subscribe for the knife content, you might be interested in that. Now, with old tools also comes militaria. The reason being, a lot of vintage tools are ex-army issue, and this is something, now I'm going to be open here, and I mean, this is probably obvious to any of you and anyone that knows me. I do not like government. I'm not saying abolish government or anyway, that doesn't matter. I don't like government. However, I've got a massive interest in collecting these, not ball peen hammers, but old military issue tools. And the reason I know it's military is because it's dated with a broad arrow. I might be mistaken, but I think if it's just a broad arrow alone, it means it's government property. And if it's got a date as well, it was military issue. This one being 1956 with a broad arrow. If I'm honest with you, I don't like ball peen hammers. I've got very little use for them, as I'm mostly a woodworker, or at least I try to be. But I decided to keep this one for that reason. And here's an old, it's not that old, but it's oldish, a nice old bill hook. I paid £2 for this. A guy won this in a lottery auction and I offered to buy it off him. and I got it for £2, and I also paid £2 for a Stanley block plane from the same guy. And this might be a bit of a funny thing for you to collect, but anytime I can find these old Stanley knives, especially the 99E, I make sure to buy them because I'm only paying like 50p to £1 for them, and I've got quite a lot of them. And you'd be surprised at the differences. I'm going to see if I've got a different one here. I don't know if I do it. Yeah. So these are both 99E, but the logos are completely different. It's a different colour. It's a different screw. The thumb ramp is different. And the way it connects together, the way it slots together is different. But this is the same knife. And for me, the important thing is it's UK made. Because I'm really sick of not knowing where things are made. I don't like things made in China, but at least if it says made in China on it, at least I know and it's honest. But I've been trying to buy exclusively old British made tools, and when I can't do that, I've been buying new European or American tools whenever possible. Here's something that some of you copper lovers might like. This is just an old copper punch, just for more delicate tasks. But this one's really interesting, you see. Broad arrow, 1979, so this was military issue. And I think I paid about £1.50 for that. So this is the sort of thing that I've been doing while I was away. And this is the sort of thing I now want to start uploading to my channel. In fact, here's another thing. If you ask me, if you like knives, you should like scissors. And I think a lot of us carry a Swiss Army knife or a Leatherman for the scissors. By the way, if you're new to my channel, the main focus here originally was things like knives and multi-tools. But as I said, I kind of want to branch out a little bit. And looking at the prices online for old scissors, especially Etsy, my god, the prices they're just insane, like 20, 30, 40, 50 quid. Some old Sheffield scissors potentially reaching up to 100, and the prices for new quality scissors being pretty much the same. And I'm a massive advocate of carrying a Swiss Army knife with a pair of scissors. I think they're brilliant. However, if that is you, you should also have a good dedicated pair of scissors. And I've got a pile of these now, maybe like 10 or so. And most of these I'm paying less than 50p each for. Now, the condition right now is rubbish, but I do plan on maybe not restoring them. Restoring them is a bit of a strong word, but certainly cleaning them up, sharpening them and making them functional like I do with all the old tools I buy. And to be honest, I've got an absolute mountain of old tools now. Now, this is a countersink for a brace, or a hand drill as you might want to call it. Here's an old Czechoslovakian one. This one's kind of unusual because it's got aluminium handles. Out of the hundreds if not thousands of those I've seen, that's the only one with aluminium handles. Anyway, this is a countersink, and as you can see, it's got a broad arrow. I hope you can see that. And if you can, it does have a broad arrow, and it's dated 1943. So that one's from the Second World War. And I paid pretty much nothing for that. And another thing that I've been buying a lot of is old saws. This is one that I'm currently doing up. Polished the brass back, cleaned up the plate a little bit. Not sure if I'm going to do anything to the handle, and I'm trying to teach myself to sharpen these old saws. And I would like to do a video on that eventually in regards to Swiss Army knives, because I think you can sharpen those. I've never really seen anyone talk about that though, so that's something I'm planning on looking into. And just because it's there, here's the handle of an old Diston thumbhole saw that I'm currently trying to repair. So I thought at first this is cherry wood. It turns out it's actually apple, and I've replaced it with mahogany. It's an obvious repair, I know, but at least the saw will be functional. And of course, they've got the blade behind me. Just working on that at the moment. So that's basically an overview of what I've been doing and why I've not been uploading. I do, like I said, I do want to upload some more. In fact, I did just do a video on two cleaver type things. I'm not sure what they were. If you're interested, please go and have a look. I've not got a clue what the hell these things are for. They look like they're either some sort of knife for splitting rope, or perhaps the larger one might even be a throw. I really don't know. But like I said, I want to show this sort of thing more because this is the sort of thing I've really been enjoying the past 6 months. Now, to be honest, this is just me thinking out loud. This is just what I want to do. I don't know if I'm going to do it. I mean, I spent a while building up this channel. I don't really want to just let it go to shit. Like I said, I do still love knives. I do still love Swiss Army knives. I do still love Leathermans. It's just the prices of new ones are just silly, so I'm just buying old ones. Of course, I forget what I was going to say. And I may also periodically bring in some newer tools, like this. I finally decided to buy some Vera tools, and I'm very impressed with them. The reason I went with Vera though is because I'm getting really sick of, like I said, things being made in China or Taiwan. I'm trying to buy European made as much as I can. The way I like to do it, I try to buy British first, then European and American, so on and so on. And I'm very impressed with Vera's tools as well as WeHa, so I kind of want to put some of that in here as well, and things like that. And I've been wanting to do machine videos for the last 2 years or so. I've just never got around to it, just because the woodworking machines I have, there's pretty much no videos on YouTube at all. And when I mean, a machine is like a table saw or a lathe. That's a big purchase, and the fact that there's no videos on YouTube about those machines really isn't helpful, especially for a hobbyist like me that really needs to know what they're getting before they save up that sort of money to buy it. Anyway, I won't take up any more of your time. I do hope that you'll stick around. If not, if you only came for the knife stuff, that's fine. But I will stay subscribed, because I do want to do more knife videos. It's just the prices of them are just, it's getting me down, just seeing the way it's going. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you after.